Imagine a world where you can Photoshop a protein as easily as editing a photo on your phone. A world where once impossible cures, sustainable materials, and animal-free foods are designed not by nature, but by the click of a button. What if the next blockbuster drug, the next plastic-eating enzyme, even the next burger you eat, wasn't discovered in a lab by trial and error, but generated by artificial intelligence, tailored atom by atom? That future is not science fiction. It's happening right now. In the last few years, a revolution has been quietly building at the crossroads of artificial intelligence and biotechnology, and it's about to transform not just how we fight disease, but how we create the very building blocks of life. This is the story of how generative AI is reshaping biotech at breakneck speed, who stands to gain, who might lose, and how this new power is already challenging everything we thought we knew about medicine, food, and the materials that surround us. To understand just how radical this change is, let's rewind. For decades, designing new proteins, the machinery of life, was painfully slow. Scientists relied on painstaking trial and error, nudging bacteria or yeast to evolve, or guessing at which changes might make a protein fold just the right way to attack a disease or create a new material. Successes were rare. Failure was the norm. Even with modern computers, predicting what a new protein might look like, let alone what it might do, was a Herculean task. All of that started to change with the dawn of deep learning. The breakthrough moment? AlphaFold, the artificial intelligence developed by DeepMind, which stunned the scientific world by predicting protein structures with near-atomic accuracy. Suddenly, something that had taken researchers months or years, costing millions, could be done in hours. The old rules were shattered. Yet as incredible as AlphaFold is, it's just the beginning. The next wave, generative AI models, doesn't just predict, it creates. Imagine not just understanding the keys on a piano, but composing entirely new melodies. These models can generate brand new protein sequences never seen in nature, optimizing them for specific functions. A therapeutic that latches onto a never-before-seen cancer marker, an enzyme that chews through plastic 5 times faster than anything found in the wild, or a synthetic antibody able to block multiple variants of the flu at once. The numbers are breathtaking. In 2024 alone, venture capitalists poured over $5 billion into startups chasing the AI protein dream, a 30% leap over the previous year. MIT researchers have published generative models that design proteins with exactly the thermal stability needed for industrial manufacturing. The cost to sequence a human genome? Under $200, making personalized protein design accessible in a way that was unimaginable just a decade ago. But let's zoom in. From the headlines to the ground floor, meet Cradle, a Dutch-Swiss tech-bio startup that's one of the most intriguing players in this new field. Founded in 2021, Cradle set out with a bold vision to create what they call Photoshop for proteins. Their web-based platform uses generative AI to make protein design not just faster, but fundamentally easier for scientists. Integrating state-of-the-art AI with real-world lab experimentation, Cradle claims to double the speed of R&D compared to traditional industry benchmarks. In the words of co-founder Elise de Roos, "We're putting the tech in biotech, giving scientists the tools to go from idea to experiment at the speed of thought." It's not just hype. Some of the world's biggest names in pharma have already started using Cradle's platform to accelerate their experimentation, aiming to get therapies to patients faster and explore entirely new frontiers. From life-saving medicines to sustainable food and materials, the scope is staggering. To visualize how this works, picture a scientist opening Cradle's software in their browser. Instead of a static database or a complicated programming interface, they see an intuitive design environment. They can input desired properties, say, a protein that survives high temperatures or binds only to a particular cancer cell. The generative AI engine takes over, suggesting novel protein designs almost instantly. Each iteration is tested in Cradle's wet lab, feeding results back into the AI to further refine and optimize. It's a closed loop: design, build, test, repeat, at speeds and scales never before imagined. This isn't just theoretical. In April 2025, the FDA approved the first fully AI-designed therapeutic, a monoclonal antibody targeting a previously unreachable cancer marker. Meanwhile, Generate Biomedicines announced a synthetic antibody able to neutralize multiple flu variants. And sustainable innovation isn't lagging behind. AI-designed enzymes are now capable of degrading certain plastics 5 times faster than any natural alternatives, offering a potential breakthrough in the fight against pollution. The benefits extend beyond the lab. Thanks to AI, clinical trial designs are being optimized, reducing durations by up to 25% and slashing costs by 15%. Biopharma companies are using federated learning so that models can be trained on diverse, confidential datasets without compromising patient privacy. Regulators aren't standing still. Both the FDA and European Medicines Agency are developing new guidelines for approving AI-designed therapeutics, aiming to balance innovation with patient safety. And the pace of innovation is dizzying. According to Charlotte Dean of the University of Oxford, the combination of AI and structural biology is unlocking unprecedented opportunities for protein engineering. Andrew Hopkins, CEO of Exscientia, adds, AI is not just a tool, but a new paradigm for drug discovery, enabling us to tackle previously intractable targets. But with great power comes even greater questions. For every promise of a faster cure or greener material, challenges loom. How do we verify that an AI-designed protein is truly safe in the real world? What if AI hallucinates a function that looks promising in silico but turns toxic in a living organism? Can regulatory agencies keep up with the relentless pace of discovery? There's also the human cost. With automated design pipelines, does biotechnology become the exclusive domain of those who can afford the latest software and sequencing tools? Could smaller labs, or entire nations, be left behind as the AI-driven innovation gap widens? Fei Li of Stanford University warns, we need to ensure that AI in healthcare is developed and deployed ethically, with a focus on fairness and transparency. And what about data privacy? With models improving fastest on large, diverse datasets, the temptation is to pool as much health data as possible. Yet even with federated learning, risks remain. Who owns the data that powers the next miracle drug? Who profits? And who is protected when the line between scientist and algorithm blurs? On the technical front, the challenges are as complex as the proteins being designed. Generative models like ProteinFlow boast a 70% success rate in generating novel protein sequences that work experimentally. But what about the 30% that fail, sometimes spectacularly? MIT's breakthroughs in thermal stability are remarkable, but scaling up from a computer model to industrial manufacturing remains a daunting task. And as AI-generated designs push the boundaries of biology, regulators and ethicists are scrambling to keep up, racing to set rules for a game whose rules are changing by the week. Emma Walmsley, CEO of GSK, sums up the mood. AI is revolutionizing our approach to drug discovery, allowing us to identify promising drug candidates faster and more efficiently. But Janet Woodcock at the FDA cautions, we are actively working on developing regulatory frameworks for AI-driven therapeutics to ensure patient safety and efficacy. It's a high-wire act balancing innovation, safety, and access. Nowhere is the debate more heated or the stakes higher than in the realm of personalized medicine. Imagine a future where every cancer therapy is custom-built for your unique genetic signature, designed entirely by AI and manufactured on demand. Such a world feels tantalizingly close, yet fraught with questions. Will the promise of tailor-made cures be limited to the wealthy or democratized for all? Can we trust software to design the proteins that could, quite literally, become part of our bodies? And then there's the specter of unintended consequences. As AI models grow in power, what safeguards are in place to prevent the creation of dangerous or dual-use biological agents? Could an AI inadvertently design a protein with catastrophic side effects, or worse, be misused for bioterrorism? Brad Smith of Microsoft is optimistic but cautious. AI has the potential to accelerate scientific discovery across various fields, including biopharma, leading to transformative breakthroughs. But he, and many others, stress the need for cross-industry collaboration and strong oversight. So, as biotech rushes forward with the power of generative AI, we're left standing at a crossroads. The promise is enormous: faster cures, sustainable innovations, a world reshaped at the molecular level. But the risks, technical, ethical, social, are just as real. The speed at which AI-generated proteins move from computer models to real-world impact is breathtaking and terrifying in equal measure. Which brings us to a profound question. As we enter this new era, will society be able to harness the benefits of AI-powered biotech while minimizing its dangers? Or will the race to innovate outpace our ability to regulate, leading to a future where the line between designed and discovered, between promise and peril, is impossible to see? In the next chapter, we'll dive into real stories from inside the labs, the boardrooms, and the regulatory agencies scrambling to keep up. But for now, ask yourself, what would it mean if in just a few years, medicine, food, and even the materials of everyday life were not discovered, but engineered, on demand, by code? And are we ready for the consequences, whatever they may be? As we stand at this extraordinary crossroads, the point where biology and artificial intelligence truly merge, let's look ahead. If generative AI has already started to rewrite the rules of biotech, what does the next decade hold? What breathtaking advances and daunting risks are on the horizon as biotech moves from pipettes and petri dishes to code and computation? Imagine a world where the timeline from medical insight to approved treatment shrinks from decades to just a handful of years, or even months. Already, 2025 saw a historic milestone. The FDA greenlit the first AI-designed therapeutic, a monoclonal antibody that targets a novel cancer marker. This approval isn't just a footnote, it's a signal flare, illuminating a future where AI regularly crafts medicines at a pace and precision previously unthinkable. Industry heavyweights are taking notice. Venture capital investment in AI-driven drug discovery soared to $5 billion in 2024, a 30% leap from just a year before. Companies like Generate Biomedicines are leveraging generative AI to conjure fully synthetic antibodies targeting fast-mutating viruses like influenza. These molecules, dreamed up by algorithms, can neutralize not just today's viral strains but anticipate tomorrow's too. And it's not just about new medicines. The environmental consequences could be game-changing. MIT researchers have trained generative models to design enzymes that degrade certain plastics up to 5 times faster than those found in nature. Picture new proteins that could help mop up oceanic plastic or break down landfill waste at industrial scale. The implications for sustainability are immense, the very building blocks of the physical world, redesigned at the click of a mouse. But with such profound potential comes equally profound questions. Let's be real, whenever technology leaps ahead, society is left scrambling to keep pace. There's a real risk that innovation, especially in biotech, with all its complexity and life-or-death stakes, could far outstrip our ability to regulate, manage, or even understand it. Charlotte Dean, a leading structural biologist at Oxford, captured this tension perfectly. The combination of AI and structural biology is unlocking unprecedented opportunities for protein engineering. She's excited, but she also knows how much unknown territory lies ahead. Will the technologies that enable life-saving therapies also make it easier to engineer dangerous pathogens, whether by accident or with malicious intent? How do we ensure AI doesn't amplify biases hidden in healthcare data, marginalizing the very populations who most need better treatments? Take drug access as another flashpoint. As biopharma becomes more like software, will therapies be distributed equitably or only to those with deep pockets or privileged connections? Brad Smith, president of Microsoft, warns, AI has the potential to accelerate scientific discovery, but we must be vigilant to ensure its benefits reach all. At the same time, regulatory agencies are hustling to adapt. The European Medicines Agency is already racing to write new approval guidelines for AI-designed therapeutics. In the US, FDA officials like Janet Woodcock are deeply engaged, seeking frameworks that protect patients but don't choke off promising innovation. The stakes could not be higher. Get it right, and we unlock a golden age of medicine. Get it wrong, and we risk public trust, or even safety. Let's play out a few future scenarios. In one, AI-powered clinical trial design becomes standard. Algorithms analyze millions of patient records, simulate trial outcomes, and optimize protocols, slashing trial durations by up to 25% and reducing costs by 15%. What does that mean? Cures that reach patients faster, cheaper, and with better odds of success. Or imagine biotech startups across the globe using federated learning, training massive AI models on private, decentralized healthcare data without anyone ever handing over sensitive information. This could supercharge medical discovery while keeping patient privacy intact, a win for both innovation and ethics. But consider a darker possibility. AI models trained on incomplete or skewed data could reinforce medical biases, overlooking rare diseases or minority populations. If left unchecked, this could create new health disparities. Ethical oversight, as emphasized by Stanford's Fei-Fei Li, isn't just a nice-to-have. It could be the difference between a future where technology heals and one where it divides. And then there's the prospect of personalized medicine as a new norm. AlphaFold 3 and successors are making it possible to design bespoke proteins that interact with a patient's unique genetic makeup. One day, you might walk into a clinic, get a quick genome scan, now costing under $200, and leave with an AI-tailored treatment for your specific condition. The boundary between biology and technology could become as thin as a smartphone screen. So what does this mean for you, for all of us watching as these waves of change roll in? First, it's time to recognize that biotech is no longer the sole dominion of traditional biologists and chemists. As Cradle's co-founder Elise DeRoos puts it, we see ourselves as a tech bio company, not just a biotech company. The fusion of programming, AI, and life sciences means the next generation of innovators may be as likely to code in Python as to pipette in a lab. If you're a student, a professional, or simply a curious mind, now is the time to upskill. Python for biology, machine learning for medicine, ethics for AI. These are the new frontiers. Online courses, open source projects, and even free platforms now let you experiment with bioinformatics, protein design, and data-driven discovery from home. The barriers to entry are lower than ever, but the opportunities are exploding. For those in healthcare, policy, or business, the lesson is clear. Collaboration is no longer optional. AI's promise in biotech is simply too vast for any single player or nation to realize alone. The breakthroughs will come from networks of scientists, engineers, ethicists, and regulators, all learning from each other in real time. Think global hackathons for drug discovery, or cross-border alliances to share anonymized patient data safely. If you're an investor or entrepreneur, consider how AI-driven biotech could reshape entire industries. From animal-free food proteins to ultra-sustainable materials, the scope of disruption goes far beyond pharmaceuticals. The next CRISPR may just as easily be a line of code as a molecule in a test tube. As patients and citizens, we must demand both access and oversight. As game-changing as these technologies are, we can't allow them to be the sole province of multinational giants. Advocacy, education, and sometimes even public pressure will be essential to ensure that the medicines of tomorrow are accessible to all, not just the privileged few. Stay informed, ask questions, support organizations pushing for transparency in both tech and healthcare. And don't forget, the ethical dimension is not just a side note. AI algorithms, no matter how smart, are only as fair and responsible as the people who create and deploy them. That means ongoing scrutiny, independent audits of AI models, clear reporting of training data, and a commitment to addressing bias and privacy threats before they cause harm. All of these lessons point to one fundamental truth. As biotech becomes software, it's up to us, scientists, coders, patients, policymakers, and everyday people, to set the rules for the game. We're witnessing nothing less than the birth of a new era, one where life itself becomes programmable. The question isn't just, can we keep up with innovation, but can we guide it wisely, so its benefits uplift humanity as a whole? So, circling back to our central question, can society manage these risks and ensure access as biotech becomes software-driven, or will innovation outpace our ability to keep up? The answer, in truth, is still being written. The tools, regulatory, ethical, collaborative, are starting to take shape, but the velocity of change demands vigilance and adaptability. If we act with foresight, openness, and integrity, yes, we can steer this revolution towards a future where generative AI in biotech delivers on its boldest promises. But if we hesitate or ignore the warning signs, technology could well outrun our collective ability to govern it, with consequences we can scarcely imagine. Now for a secret fact that might just blow your mind. In 2025, researchers using generative AI for protein design reported that over 70% of the novel proteins their models created were validated to work as intended in real laboratory tests. That's an experimental success rate unimaginable just a few years ago, and a testament to how quickly biology is becoming an information science. So, if you found this journey into the future of biotech and AI as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments. Where do you see the biggest opportunities or the gravest risks as generative AI transforms biotech? Would you trust an AI-designed medicine? Should we move faster or hit pause? Thanks.